You are out dining on a fine Saturday night. As you swallow a tasty chunk of beef, your friend tells a funny joke. You laugh, and the piece of meat falls down the wrong pipe, and you choke. As the blood rushes faster and faster in your heart, and the blood rushes in your ears, you are gripped by the cold embrace of fear and death. Your friend looks at you uncomprehendingly, or perhaps even thinking you're acting. You panic and search on YouTube for a self-rescue video, and then you see this. Ads, so infuriating. After 100 seconds, you pass out. Today, I want to talk about a simple idea. A new universal choking sign. But before we get into it, let's first understand why we need it. 1 in 5 days in the US, a child dies from choking. 5,500 people die each year from choking. And aggregately, from 2000 to 2022, 100,000 people died from choking. The top 4 choked on food items are candy, grapes, carrots, and nuts. And common causes of choking are talking and laughing while eating, or eating foods like these top 4. Statistically, the young and very elderly have higher chances of choking. However, in real life, choking does not discriminate. We are all at risk. Well, let's first understand what happens when you choke. When you swallow, food shall come down through the esophagus and land in your stomach. This thing here, that's the epiglottis. It acts like a tiny trap door. It closes when you swallow food, so the food will not go in your windpipe. However, sometimes we swallow food before the epiglottis can close, and the food gets stuck in the windpipe, causing us to choke. Well, what happens after you choke? From 0 to 30 seconds, your body's initial response is to cough the object out. If you're still able to cough or breathe, there's a high probability that you can cough the object out yourself because it will be stuck higher up. However, if it's stuck further down, then you will not be able to cough it out or get air in. And thus, from 30 to 60 seconds, the oxygen in your blood starts to decrease. From 1 minute to 2 minutes, hypoxia, or the lack of oxygen, and the buildup of carbon dioxide causes mild brain damage. Dizziness also starts to set in around here. From 2 minutes to 4 minutes, neurons start to die, and there may be irreversible loss of brain function. From 4 minutes to 6 minutes, irreversible loss of brain function sets in, and the heart may stop beating. From 6 minutes to 10 minutes, the probability of death increases exponentially. And after 10 minutes, well, death. But what do we do to save someone who choked? I believe most of us know of one way, which is the Heimlich maneuver, where you find the spot 2 fingers above the belly button and thrust in and up with a fist covered by an open hand, and hopefully dislodge whatever is blocking the airway. But the larger issue is, we have been taught to solve the problem and not to see it. And in a crisis, that's the difference between life and death. We do not notice someone who is choking, and we do not understand or realize that someone is choking, because choking is silent. The person cannot talk. They cannot speak, they cannot shout, they cannot call for help. Well, how do we get across the message that we have choked? There exists a universal choking sign, but does anyone here know it? Are there any volunteers to show me the universal choking sign? Exactly. The universal choking sign, where you are asked to stand there doing this, it's not practical. You are asked to stand there and lower your head instead of making a commotion trying to find help. this universal choking sign is hard to notice and hard to understand. Well, to prove my point, I went to restaurants and asked waiters whether they understand this signal. One of them looked at me as if I was crazy, blinked twice, and then said very hesitantly, well, I think that somebody making this hand gesture is just afraid of something, maybe seeing a spider. Make this sign with me right now. Do this, universal choking sign. Glance to your left, glance to your right. Would you have noticed it? Would you have understood it? Maybe not. The only video in China that mentions a universal choking sign on Bilibili, one of the largest video platforms in China, it has only 8,000 views. The Chinese population is 1.41 billion, and this video only has 8,000 views. The only article that talks about the universal choking sign is from Dingxiangyuan, a medical advice website from China. And it says that the universal choking sign is forming a V shape with her hand. That is super unclear. Should I do this? Yay! Nobody understands this signal, and that's a problem. So, what should we do? We need a signal that's simple, clear, and impossible to ignore. And here's my proposal. One hand raised high to get attention, and the other indicating the throat. Why? Because it is visible, it is specific, and it's actionable. Raising a hand high gets attention. Pointing to the throat leaves no room for any confusion, and it tells bystanders exactly where to focus. I have a friend who choked on a clump of spinach, who was saved by this exact hand gesture. The previous day, her family had coincidentally decided to agree on a hand gesture to signal for choking, and that saved the life of my friend. Seeing my friend coming so close to death made me determined to spread this life-saving hand gesture. This cannot stay as just an idea. We have to spread it everywhere: schools, workplaces, restaurants, and homes. Because choking does not care if you're prepared or not. Every second counts, and we have to be ready. Students, you're the generation that made TEDxBASIS go viral. You're the generation that made one video have gazillions of views. Let's make life-saving go viral too. Teach your friends this sign. Parents and teachers, you're the people we trust to teach calculus and literature. Trust yourselves to teach survival also. Let's make sure no one dies silently, clutching at their throats, because no one knew how to see or how to act. Every second counts. Thank you.